Have you ever went on YouTube and just wanted to have a video that you were looking for information on and just like by all means just have all the information on one video rather than having to go to part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, go to the dictionary, look it up on Quora, look it up on Reddit to see what people's opinions are and what a certain subject was and how to define something. I have. I don't know if you have, but I know I have plenty of times. And I think this video is going to be one of those videos. So if you guys can please tune in, like this video to reach out to more people. Let's get to 200 likes. We're on our way to 20K subscribers. I think we'll hit it by the end of the year, but we can only do that with your guys' help. So subscribe if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content. Also, we go live on YouTube pretty much every day. So if you guys want to be notified when I go live on YouTube and when I upload to YouTube, just consider leaving that bell button punched, like break the bell button, literally destroy it. And you will be notified. Hopefully, YouTube will notify you guys when I go live on YouTube. What is transgender? What is trans? And I'm here to answer this for you in many different ways. First off, let's start off with the very flat definition of what transgender is. Transgender is whenever someone transitions from one gender to another, whether it be male to female, female to male, or binary to non-binary. Disclaimer, I cannot speak upon people that are non-binary. I cannot speak on people that are trans men. I don't know their experience. And if you haven't figured out by the 0.1 second of this video, yes, I am transgender. I'm a trans woman. I've been transitioning for almost 8 years. My name is Mama Charlotte, and I enjoy making YouTube videos on this platform. For a while, it was about gaming, and now it is literally about my lifestyle as a trans woman. I help encourage people that are trying to come out or people that have already come out how to direct their lives. In other words, it's a lifestyle channel. So this is me. This is me. First thing I would want to say to anybody that is new to who a trans person is, it is going to feel uncomfortable when you first see a trans person in public. Probably someone that is very, very unpassable. And to be honest with you, a majority of us are. It is very, very hard, and you must be very, very lucky and have very good genes to be able to be a passable trans person or a passable, gender that you're looking at. It's not something that's always going to be around. Someone's going to have a low voice. Someone's going to have a very high voice. Someone's going to have an Adam's apple. Someone's gonna. It's always there's always these little clocking factors into whenever you see them in public. When you see us in public, just treat us like human beings. We're humans, just like anybody else, right? When you see a trans person, how should you react? Should you freak out? Should you yell? No, just treat them like any other human being. Conversate with someone that is trans. You don't have to be completely sympathetic and like, oh my God, I understand your struggle. You're doing such a great God. You're doing God's work. You do not have to sit there and go up to a trans person and make them feel like that because it basically tells them that you know who they are. Trust me, I know how that is because it's happened to me before, way back, years back. I'm talking back in 2019 and 2018 time. And I was literally working and some guy comes up to me and says, I love all you fellow people, blah, 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 blah. And it made me feel uncomfortable, honestly. I wasn't addressed like a normal human being. One cool fact about trans people is that we just want to be like regular people. There are very few amount of trans people that actually want to stand out and want to look completely different. But a majority, I would say 90% of us, pretty much just want to live normal lives, pretty much want to just blend in with society, and pretty much just want to live a clock-free life. Will that ever happen? Probably not. What is their life like? What is their struggles? Transgender people don't always have struggles. In fact, before we transition, doesn't always have to be there a struggle. A lot of people associate trans people as being people that actually have had, trauma in the past that have led to their transition. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, 0% of transitions should ever come from trauma. So if you had a traumatic event and this is why you're transgender, that shouldn't be the way. You should not transition because of traumatic events. You should transition for one reason and one reason only, and that's gender dysphoria. I truly believe that if you're transgender, you're transitioning because you have gender dysphoria. You have an uncomfortability of who you are. Otherwise, you're transitioning not for gender dysphoria reasons, and it's more so kind of like, I just don't know. Some people might find gender euphoria in the other gender and not gender dysphoria in the older character. That's where the lines get blended out, and that's where a lot of people kind of don't take our legitimacy. But there is a very real situation with people with gender dysphoria, and this is actually backed up by science, that we actually have, our brains are chemically wired differently. Like if you were to look into my brain, you would see that it's chemically wired like a female's. Though when you look at a brain, are you gonna see, oh, that's definitely a male or a female's brain? Probably not, because brains don't have sexual organs or sexual features. They're just pretty much brains. And that's another lying factor of being trans, is that we don't have a way of trying, we don't have like a pimple, or we don't have like a certain body part that points out, hey, this person's trans. It is literally embedded in your brain. That's why transgender stuff is considered mental. And I'm not gonna say it's a disability, because you're not really like incognitive because of it, but it is not exactly what we would consider a normal functioning brain. I would like to look at trans people as a brain version of intersex people. If you look at an intersex person, they have both a male and a female part, because it's visible. You can tell it's visible right there. But with a trans person, it's invisible. It's in the brain. It's something that we really haven't come to terms of understanding. The brain is a very, very specific part of our bodies that we still have yet to completely understand. Genitalia is very much easy. If you have a penis, you're mainly a man. If you have a vagina, you're mainly a woman, and that's just the way it is. But with trans people, it's the brain that hasn't developed. It was the brain that feels like, hey, this is the wrong gender. And then most people that are trans usually find out when they're really, really young. And I'm not just trying to like lead people to some fake news. It's honestly, it's the honest truth. Ask a lot of trans people. They knew since they were very young that they were different. It is an identity thing. It is very much embedded in who we are. Let me tell you guys of an instance of mine back when I was very, very young. And in fact, I was, I think, 4 years old at the time. And I don't remember, but I do remember, if that makes any sense. I remember going in to my kindergarten class, 5 years old actually, I think now. And they separated the boys and the girls. And I didn't know which side to go to. That's insane. I didn't know this until I came out. Then it kind of made sense. I remember putting like these little hands with their name on them and putting them on the wall. With what group you were on, you'd have to put your hand on the wall. I remember, it's very vague. But when you look at a trans person, there's a good chance they found out they're trans very, very young. Or if they didn't know that they're trans, but they had signs, pretty much came out when they were young. A majority of trans people are gay before coming out. I want to clear the border of what trans people are. Transgender people don't have to be gay before transitioning, because we don't transition for sexuality, we transition for identity. Sexuality is merely just something that just coexists. Just like how just like how women mainly like men and men mainly like women, it's the same thing with trans people. Mainly trans women like men and mainly trans men like women. So wouldn't it make sense that just a few of those couple of those groups just so happen to be bisexual or lesbian or gay? Pretty much makes sense to me. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to trans people are merely just transitioning for identity purposes, what their brain is saying inside their head. Transgender people most likely are going to be super, 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 super intense versions of what you might see in a female or a male. So with trans women especially, you might see and hear very exaggerated high voices, or very exaggerated, tones, and lots of makeup, and a really intense version of what a female is. And a lot of this reason is because when you take like 17, 20, 30 years of your life and you're living as this other gender and you have to live as another one because you're transitioning, it's really hard because you're bottling up all this stuff you're learning at once and you're kind of splatting it out for the world because you don't want to be seen as a man, so you're trying to be seen as a female. So that's pretty much, when you look at a trans person, that's going to be probably something that you're going to notice right away. By all means, when I first came out as transgender, I definitely was one of those people. I tried. My voice did sound pretty bad. And it still doesn't sound the greatest, but it doesn't sound nearly as corny as it did when I first started. But there are still trans people that really do sound corny, and they do for a very long time. And that is exactly how you'll know you're around someone that's trans. The more encouragement that a trans person has, the better they are at surviving. Because understand, another fact about trans people is that they have the higher chance of committing suicide because of an acceptance of who they are, losing friends and losing family. We bear a chip on our shoulders. Not every trans person has to deal with all that, but there are a majority of trans people that have to deal with losing family and losing friends, and it leads into depression. It leads into depression a lot of the time. Transgender does not necessarily mean medical. It means changing from one gender to another, whether it be representing or medical. Now, that doesn't mean that someone that doesn't attempt to transition in any sort of way can still call themselves a woman or a man. If you call yourself the opposite thing, you need to go towards that opposite thing. You can't say, well, I'm a trans woman, but I have a beard. I don't care. Free the beard, free the flat chest, free the bulge. At that point, you're pretty much not transitioning. And transitioning is called changing from one gender to the other. You cannot do that if you're staying in the same position as you was before and just trying to push out narratives. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's right. I think that's people that are trying to make really, really hardcore narratives and very, very radical decisions, and that is exactly why we're so split up in society. When you see a trans person, you shouldn't see political views. You shouldn't see religious views either. You got to realize that not every trans person is a devil worshiper or a left-wing liberal. That's not how it works. We have examples like Blair White that shows us that trans people can be Republican. People like Caitlyn Jenner that could be Republican. We have some people that are trans are atheists, people that are devil worshippers. We have people that are God worshippers. I grew up in the church. I'm Christian. So to me, I don't see and that's why I don't believe that people that are trans should be attacked because they are, in any sort of way, religiously, we have to be in these boxes. So please, when you look at trans people, we're not boxes. We're not one thing. We're not one view. We are just like you. This comes down to the whole notion of human beings. Human beings are different. Transgender people are all different too. We're not all the same. We might represent the same problems and the same struggle, but we're not nearly the same all the time. In fact, a lot of trans people actually have a lot of prejudice towards other trans people, whether they pass or not. I had a trans woman that I was friends with that really did not like the fact that I was dating someone that they used to talk to. They said, I don't care if this person's dating a regular woman, but to date another T-girl, that's a problem. And I didn't see that as like, why does that have to be a problem? Why can't it be anybody? So we are our own worst enemies as well. So keep in mind, we're not all the same. We don't just run around and skip in circles and just greet each other with smiles everywhere we go. Transgender people are a mixture of struggle, or a mixture of different sort of beliefs, different sort of, of imbalances in life and different sorts of things that we're holding in. It is a medical condition that is so politicized and so thrown out there for hate that it's insane. Being transgender is merely someone's identity of who they are, how they represent. No one, including me, maybe some people are, but including me, did not come out so that I can make a political statement and I could go walk the streets and go point a flag up in the air. To me, transgender isn't a flag. To me, transgender isn't a community. Transgender is an identity and a medical condition. That's how I see it. And I live the way I do because I'm trying to fulfill my happiness and run away from the depression and find a cure in something that most people find is a problem. So when you go in the world and you walk in society and you see someone that you notice is trans, what's the first thing you think of? Leave a comment down. This video is for everybody. It's not just for trans people. It's not just for people that are allies. It's for haters. It's for people that dislike trans people. Why do you dislike trans people? What have they done to you? What have we done to you? Is it one person that affected your life? Is it a group of people that ruined it? Did someone demasculate you? Everybody that I've come into contact with in my life have all treated me like a human being. And that's the way you should see anybody. I don't care if someone has, an extra arm or 6 fingers on one hand. We should all be treated the same way. And I think this doesn't end with trans people. This goes so much further. People are judgmental, and that's just the way the world is. We will judge. We will find someone pretty, we'll find someone ugly, we'll find someone fat, we'll find someone skinny, we'll find someone that just doesn't reach our level of happiness. And judging comes in so much shapes and sizes and colors that it's just thrown out without even trying at this point. But nowadays, we see people accepting more, people loving more, people with less negative judgmental views a lot more, which is why a lot of people that are trans are coming out more. And people got this mixed up with people are corrupting other people. At the end of the day, more people coming out because more acceptance is coming in. See, trans people have been around for years, hundreds of years. Maybe not have always been called trans, but they've been called different names. There are some societies that look up to trans people. There are some societies that look down at trans people. There are some societies that would kill trans people. And then there are some societies that would welcome us with open arms. So what, at the end of the day, is transgender? Transgender is a very big topic in today's society. And why is that? Is there a reason why it's a big topic? Why is it so important for someone to want to teach their kid against trans people? It's because we live in a time where opinions are given on the internet, and everyone that gives these opinions gives it to others. We are born with no opinions on anybody. We learn from the people above us, the people around us. Who we accept? If we're in a friend group that's anti-gay, we're going to be anti-gay people. If we're in a friend group that accepts everyone, we're going to be in a group, we're going to love everyone. If we have parents that are not prejudiced towards these other group of people, we will not be racist. We will not be homophobic. We will not be transphobic. But if you're always around that, you're going to learn off of that, because hate is universal. It could happen to anybody, but so is love. Transgender is an identity. It's an identity crisis. It's what someone that was born with a brain of the opposite gender finds realization of what their purpose in life is. Not who they're not who they're supposed to be, but who their purpose is in life. That's what transgender is. You don't complain about what you were made from. You don't complain that you're not that other thing. Now, all these lively matters and lively, life events might encourage us to feel that way, but that's not true. We are here because of this is our purpose to transition. It's our purpose to live that life that makes us feel comfortable and happy. Because if there's one thing I've learned, or one feeling I've actually felt since I came out, it's that every day is like Christmas to me now. Every day I wake up happy with who I am. I wasn't necessarily depressed when I was living the other gender, but I wasn't exactly the happiest I can be. And I knew at that moment in time that it was time to seek my identity. And it goes for everybody in this world. You don't have to be trans to find an identity. It could be your job. It could be your lifestyle. It could be the friends you're around. It is this epiphany you have in your head that says, I am tired of not being fulfilled. I am tired of not living my best life. Come out if you need to come out. Transition if you need to transition. Go get that new job if you want to go get it. Go make that choice to go do that audition for that film. Go do this. Go write that first book that you've been wanting to write. That's your transition. Transgender is just merely a version of what transitioning is. Transitioning is anything in life. Transgender is just one gender to another. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys. It's been a pretty long video. I had to cut up quite a bit because It's very difficult of a video to make because it's very unique and different and just different than what I'm used to making. I know it was already, I'm sorry if it was all over the place. I never script my videos. I never sit there and write a whole script to it. It's always just pure heart to heart talk, like as if I'm talking to a friend. So I'm all over the place. Like I'll go into one subject, this subject, this subject, this subject. It's just the way it is. But if you like that way and you like me as a person, that's why you're subscribed. But yeah, with that being said, that is your definition of transitioning. What is it? What is transgender? I hope I answered you guys' question. If you ever asked that question, what is transgender? And I've summed it up in this entire video. If I miss anything, leave in the comments, and you could be part of the video by commenting in the comment section. Someone could always look in the comments for any more questions to be answered. Anyways, I love you guys. Lots of tater tots, apricots, and letty butts with lots of spots. I do hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.